Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday. I am Georgianne.
I am Eric.
And we are here to spend a couple of minutes talking with you about what we talked about on Sunday. And if you are watching live or even on the replay, you can put comments, questions here in the comments, and we will chime in with the comments as soon as we get off here and can see the comments. So today is National Pumpkin Day, and so if you haven't gotten your pumpkin,
Get one.
go out and get it.
And
It's also
what?
what?
Was the other one?
National Financial Crime Fighting Day.
Go fight some financial crimes
Yes. I don't.
for Jesus.
That seems like such
Steward
a
your
narrow,
time by,
narrow
your time
audience.
by fighting crime for Jesus.
Okay. All right. Well, we heard a message this past Sunday from Josh, which was part 2 of how can I make the most of my life. And Josh said it's part 2 of a 10-week series. It was confusing. But anyway, it was 2 sermons, 1 topic, and this was the second week. So the big idea for this week was steward every second. And I think like right out of the gate, you know, we talked about this before we came on here. Right out of the gate, we want to say like this does not mean for you to like load more things on your plate, sign up for more stuff, do more things, right? It's not like heaping a pile of guilt on you and saying like you're not doing enough things.
Yeah, if you're already doing things, it's not go add more till you max out.
Right, because earlier in this series, we heard about how important it is to rest, right? And so I think that would be a very conflicting and confusing message if we said rest, but also now do more things, right? Mm-hmm. So instead, this means to see everything you're doing in your life through the lens of the gospel. Mm. And what it looks like to use every waking moment in your life to point people back to the cross. And I think, you know, this really, I think, defines the decision-making process in our lives about what we are going to say yes to, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're asking the question, how do I make the most out of my life, and you're not doing anything, then Josh said we have plenty for you to do. But in learning, like he used the charts of like how much of our seconds are spent just at movement on Sundays and how much more is left open. That doesn't mean not fill those boxes with as many ministries as possible. It's like go be a Jesus follower in every aspect of your life through every second and stop thinking of just Sundays as your quote unquote Jesus time or whatever.
Right, I have 2 accountability partners, and we often talk about thinking about our time in the same aspect that we think about our tithe in, you know, and so you think about if you want to give all of the first and best things back to God, and so are we doing that with our time? And like you said, it doesn't have to be here in the church. We have 2 friends in our moving group who are both involved in coaching sports, and that's like very much a ministry for them. It is like, you know, kids here need strong people in their lives to be able to teach and help them, and so it doesn't have to be within the walls of this building either, right? So we're going to kind of hone in here on the 4 questions that Josh asked us to take a look at, because we really want to spend some time individually in our families and our moving groups, you know, thinking and praying about the answers to these questions, because they're hard questions. Mm-hmm. And, you know, sometimes the answers to the questions reveal areas where we need to, you know, ask God to do some work on us. And so the first was, what is my rhythm of resting? We talked about this before a couple of weeks ago, actually. And I think this is a hard question for some of us to answer because we do fill it all up, do more stuff. And what does that look like for you? Do you have a day that you have set aside as Sabbath?
I've actually, my first year of ministry, this is the worst thing I was so bad at it. So now I've tried to make an emphasis, and I really emphasized this summer since I had less on my plate to start that rhythm so that when the fall came, I did. But yeah, I try to do practically nothing on Fridays in that aspect. I'll still probably, just because of school and stuff, do some reading, but very minimal compared to everything I'm doing the rest of the week to be able to just rest.
Well, I think, it's hard when you wear multiple hats because you're in ministry, you are also in school, and so you might say like, okay, on this day I'm not doing anything for ministry, but then you have something else that you need to do for school. And that's where I find the challenge too, is because I have a job, I'm a business owner, and then I'm in ministry as well. And so I'm like, they often overlap, and it becomes a challenge to be like, okay, there's this one day that we don't have anything. But it takes planning and intentionality.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the next question is, how am I growing? And, I think this is a multi-pronged question too. It's how are you growing in your relationship with Jesus? How are you growing in knowledge of the Word? How are you growing in relationships with people? Anything to add to that?
Yeah, it is multi-pronged because in one aspect, like I've talked a lot about my journey of healing, like that is a process of my growth. I take time every morning to just read the scriptures and pray, and that's an aspect in which I'm growing. And then pretty much my whole schooling is just a way of trying to grow closer to Christ intellectually or whatever it be. So.
But again, it requires planning and intentionality.
Yeah. It's
not something that's just going to happen where like, yeah, I want to grow closer to God.
Yeah.
All right. We need a battle plan, right? And then next is, where are we serving? And, if you are not serving anywhere here in Movement, Josh gave a big list of all of the teams and what our needs are. And it takes a lot.
Intentionality.
Yep. And the big thing, I think, is, we have 2 services, Sunday, 9:30 and 11. And we don't want you to come and serve and leave. We would love for you to come and serve and then celebrate. And so that's a block of time, right?
Yeah. In some of our ministries, like Jen has talked about, it's like they can serve before and after, but while the services. But like I know Brad's team, you don't really have that option. Obviously, being upstairs with the kids, which is like our biggest of the ministries, taking away people, like they aren't getting it down here. So yeah.
And tech, you're definitely there,
tech.
both services, yeah. And then the last question was, who am I investing in? And I think this is, Movement is so relational focused. It's all about, helping people move closer to Jesus. And, I'm sure if we all think and pray about people in our lives who have needs that we can definitely help meet, we could come up with way more than one person, right? And again, not that this is about like adding more and more things to do, but it's about saying, God, like, who do you have in my life that needs me?
Yeah, because of course, because we're so relational, this comes easy to one aspect. But I know Josh has encouraged it in different ways, but reaching out to people that don't look like us, people that are deeply broken, like, are you intentionally trying to find people like that in your life to love on and minister to? Or are you just going through day to day, which it becomes easy to do.
It's easy to do that.
Like,
it's
I'm
easy.
just going to minister and pour into the people in my moving groups, but you see them every week. So are you taking the intentionality to go find people that you would want to be found if you were in their position?
Yeah, that's true. And I think, families who have, for us, we have a ton of kids. It does become harder because, our kids require so much time and focus and energy towards discipleship. But again, like, this is not about like guilting. Do you say like, oh, well, you can't spend all of your time with your family? That's not what we're saying at all. It may be that your kid is the person, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, the first thing to do is ask God, show me. Show me. Sometimes we think we have like such overly simplistic prayers, like, oh, He doesn't care about that. He cares about all of our prayers. So, okay, do you have anything to add?
No, ma'am.
All right, so that's a lot to unpack in 4 questions. There's a lot to look at there, but it's Tuesday, so you have till Sunday to think and pray about that, and talk it over with your moving groups. You can add comments or questions here, and if you've missed anything in this series, you can go back on YouTube or Facebook and catch it all up, because we are shockingly getting close to the end.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's gone by so quick. So join us here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, and then we'll see you Sunday morning for the next message from the Rooted series.
Have a good week.
Go get a pumpkin.